So today we're going to dig into a feeling that, let's be honest, seems to be pretty much everywhere lately.
You know the feeling, right? You see someone struggling with their groceries, or you hear about a neighbor who's going through a really tough time, and just nothing happens. It can really feel like we're all just out here on our own. But why is that? What's actually going on?
And look, it's easy to think that maybe people have just become less kind or more selfish, but that's not it. The real answer is hidden a layer deeper, in a place that honestly, most of us would never even think to look. Okay, let's dive into this mystery.
So, what we're facing here is this really strange paradox. On one hand, almost all of us agree that we all need help sometimes, and we genuinely believe in the idea of helping other people. And yet, the feeling that actual, real help is getting harder and harder to find, well, that just keeps growing.
As we started looking into this paradox, it turns out there are these three massive but kind of invisible barriers that are totally changing how we give and get support. You can think of these as the main clues that are going to help us crack this case. Okay, so first up is this idea of institutionalized help. Over the last century or so, we've basically outsourced caring for each other. You need mental health support? Well, there's a hotline for that. Need food? There's an agency. Now, this professionalizes care, which can be good, but it also creates this kind of bystander effect. We figure, oh, an expert will handle it. And that simple human act of just helping your neighbor, it just starts to fade away. And here is the major problem with relying only on those systems. A mind-blowing 2/3 of adults with moderate to severe depression or anxiety are getting no treatment at all. The institutions are there, yeah, but they are often completely overwhelmed, they're hard to access, or people just don't trust them. And that leaves millions of people falling right through the cracks.
Secondly, help itself has become a transaction. I mean, think about it. Need a ride? You get an Uber. Need a hand moving a couch? You hire someone from an app. And sure, that's super convenient, but it turns what used to be mutual support into a straight-up market exchange. In a world where we're all told that time is money, spending a few hours helping a friend for free can start to feel like a luxury, an expense you just can't afford.
And that brings us to our third clue: risky help. Today, offering a helping hand can feel just fraught with danger. People are genuinely worried about legal liability, about saying the wrong thing and getting ashamed for it online, or about getting sucked into a situation that's just going to drain them emotionally and financially. So a lot of the time, the safest feeling option is to do nothing at all. So we have our three barriers. We've got institutionalization, we've got transactionality, and we've got risk. But here's the twist. This is the clue that connects everything. This is what solves the mystery. And here's the crucial point. Those barriers don't impact everyone in the same way. Not even close. The single biggest factor that decides whether you're in a position to give or receive help, it isn't your character, it's your job. Okay, now this slide, this is where it all just clicks into place. Look at the difference here. If you've got stable work, institutional help usually comes right through your benefits package. Transactional help, like hiring a mover, is just a convenience you can afford. And risky help, that's a manageable choice you can make. But for people in precarious work, it's a completely different world. They're often excluded from the institutional system entirely. For them, transactional help isn't a convenience. It's the unpaid work they can't afford to do for others. And risky help, that's not a choice. It's a genuine threat to their survival. So what this creates is this massive help gap, right? A chasm where the people who are in the most need of support are the very same people least able to get it or to give it. So let's take a look at the human cost and see who exactly is falling into this gap. First up, you have low-wage and hourly workers. They're so often shut out from things like employer-based benefits, and they have basically zero financial cushion to help out anyone else. Then you've got gig economy workers. I mean, their entire world is transactional by its very design. That leaves very little room for things like community give and take or a stable support system. And of course, the unemployed and underemployed. They're often completely outside of those formal support systems, which makes asking for any kind of help feel like this high-stakes gamble with no safety net whatsoever. Single-parent households are another one. They have a huge need for help with things like childcare or sick days, but so few institutional supports to actually fall back on. And finally, young adults. They are way overrepresented in the kinds of precarious jobs that just don't have the traditional benefits or the strong community networks that existed in the past. So yeah, the picture we've painted looks pretty bleak. It feels like the very infrastructure for helping each other is just crumbling.
But is it a lost cause? Is there a way we can actually rebuild it? Let's take a look at a path forward.
The source material actually suggests a three-part strategy here. We can push back against institutionalization by just investing in our own informal, local communities. We can fight back against transactionality by practicing simple, unasked-for generosity. And we can lower the stakes by creating safe, low-risk ways for people to offer and ask for help.
Now, those are all really valuable things we can do as individuals and in our neighborhoods. But, and this is a huge but, we can't just patch over the root cause. The real reason that the infrastructure for help is failing is because of widespread economic precarity, that feeling of living with constant insecurity about your job and your income.
And this quote just absolutely nails it. It gets right to the heart of this entire explainer. When we ask, why doesn't anyone help anymore? We're really asking the wrong question. It's not about individual character. It's about having the structural economic stability that makes generosity even possible in the first place.
Which leaves us with one final and really crucial question. In a world where the ability to help has become a privilege that's tied to having a good job, what is it going to take to make it a fundamental human right once again?